Hey everybody, what is up? It is Rose Bouquet coming at you, and we're gonna go ahead and do a podcast today. I haven't done one in a little bit, but I've been prompted by some things I've been watching on YouTube as usual. So let's go ahead and get started. I've been watching this one channel, and I really like it because I like the girl that's on the channel. I think she's like fun to watch, and she has a bubbly personality, and she's really nice. It's not her as a person that I have a problem with at all. It is what I'm seeing is just really bothering me. So her channel is called Acre Homestead, and at first I was like watching it and I was seeing gardening and like all this food from the garden being brought in. I'm like, wow, that's really cool because I live in a place that's really hot. So anytime I try to grow anything, it's either going to get eaten by bugs because we just have so many bugs here, or it just takes too much water to keep anything alive. So I can't grow anything substantial where I live. If I do plant anything, it has to be a plant that's already grown. And, sometimes I can get like elephant ears to, be alive. And, there's some hardy plants that you can plant in my area. But, as far as food, you're fighting with the bugs for that one. And there's a lot of them here. So I really wouldn't try it. But I gotta do it. I gotta roast this girl a little bit. And I'm not being mean. This is just what I've observed in the last month. I've watched her, maybe 2 months, possibly 3. I can't remember when I started watching her. But I really, at first I was like, oh, maybe I like this channel, maybe I don't. And then I was like really into it. And then she moved and she just moved. So like I was really watching it. But basically they have a garden, right? And so she'll go out and, work really hard in this garden, and they have chickens at this house and all of that. So what I was watching is that, like, in addition to all that, she would she has to go get fertilizer, constantly buying fertilizer for the garden and things like that, of course. And it's just all very costly because at the end of the day, if you think about it, you can get tomato sauce on sale and it's actually way cheaper to buy it than it is to grow on your own. Yes, if you're growing tons of it to sell, or if you're like an Amish person, they grow their food, they exclusively eat their own food, their own they don't buy anything from the stores. It's all homegrown for them. And they sell it, and they have restaurants, and they live completely off the land that they farm on their own, and they sell they make furniture and everything. So, and they sew, and the women sew. They live like the 1800s, right? I mean, they live like people did in the 1800s. It's a respectable thing to do, right? I mean, if you can do that, that's wonderful. I think that's great for people that can do that and live like that. They sew their own clothes, and they have auctions, and people pay a lot of money for their items because they're handmade and they're usually very good quality. So anyways, I'm going off a tangent about Amish people. I'm just saying that I understand why they do it because they make a living off it, and they grow in bulk. But so this girl, I noticed she's buying like the little bags to put things in. I mean, anytime you're expending money for something, you got to think, well, is that really worth it in the long run? And, just to get a few plants, I mean, a tomato plant, is it even one jar of, how many tomatoes? Once you crush it down, it takes a lot of tomatoes to make like one jar of tomato sauce. So in my opinion, like we have a grocery store here, and they usually have BOGOs, buy one, get one free. So you can get 2 tomato sauces for like $2 or $3. I mean, you can stock up on that, and it's already in the jar for you. You didn't have to buy the jar. I mean, you're buying it at the store, but you're getting the jar. It's preserved properly for you. You don't have to worry about botulism or getting, food poisoning, because it's actually very dangerous if you don't know how to do it properly. You're not expending, like, you have to have a canning machine to can things. So even if you do spend the money on the fertilizer, and especially the water, like for me, for my area, it's always just having to water things. That just takes so much money, and it's just like water that I just don't think should be wasted on things like that. I think gardening can make sense if you're just doing something, low maintenance that doesn't take like a lot of water or time. Like fruit trees are always good because, that's going to give you fruit no matter what. Usually you don't have to go out there and, maintain it much. But things that just take a lot of time to maintain and keep going, it's just not worth it to me. Like if you have to keep buying seeds and buying everything and like watering it and fertilizing it and trying to keep it alive, and then buying, when she buys the tomato plants, she has to buy the metal casing to go around it. I mean, think about the cost of that. You could have bought how many tomato sauces with that? I mean, at the end of the day, I guess my main problem is don't advertise it as like a savings for anyone, because nobody's saving money doing that. Like when I planted some plants at my house, I had to water it so much. At the end of the day, it just was not worth it. It was so much more worth it just to buy one that was already grown and planted in the ground. And usually that'll last a few months, and then, the plants may die, but they come back the next year, if they're annuals. So that's more worth it to me, is low maintenance gardening. I don't think trying to grow something from a seed and then keep it alive and then fertilize it and then constantly be taking care of it. It's just the time, money, water, fertilizer. And then people are buying those bags that they put the fertilizer in. I mean, think of the money that you're spending on just the bag, those 16-gallon bags that everybody thinks are great now for farm, putting plants in for farming and stuff, or for growing things. I mean, everything costs money. So if you're spending, let's say, the wood to go around these raised beds that people are doing, I mean, if you're spending $20, $30, $40, $50 on fertilizer, I mean, think about it. How many cans of tomatoes could you have bought with that? You could have stocked a whole shelf or more, because like I said, they're usually buy one, get one free, or at the stores around me, they're always go on sale. And you can stock up and have the jar, and it's all canned, and it's good for years as well. So I don't know. The cost that goes into this, and then there's only two people. It's only her and her husband. And I mean, she shares with her family, but it's not like she has like kids or anything. So I'm just confused. And then in addition to that, okay, it's not just the farming that gets me. So she'll start telling you about, and I don't dislike the girl. I think she's a sweetheart, but I don't understand the madness in it all. So then she'll start telling you, and then I started watching her channel more. And then she's like, she has a wine club that she's part of. She's like, oh, I joined this wine club. No. I didn't want to do it at first, but I ended up doing it. I'm like, okay, cool. All right. So she has a wine club. Then you learn that she's part of a meat club. So she gets like special meat from this meat club. Then she buys bulk food from Azure, which I don't know if anybody's ever looked at their prices. They are so expensive. Like, it's more expensive than the grocery store, like at least 2 or 3 times. I looked for just one little thing of macaroni or something. It's something crazy. It's like $8. It's expensive food. I'm thinking I could go to Walmart and get that for like 99 cents. I can get a box of Kraft and just have that, and that stays good in the pantry for years. It's just noodles and It's all ready for you right there. You didn't even have to expend any energy. And it's already boxed and safe for storing. So you didn't have to expend any energy doing all that. I understand it. Okay. And on top of that, she has like a Costco membership because she goes to Costco, and that's like $60 a year. Plus, I think she has a Sam's Club membership, and that's $40. So that's $100 right there. So she has a wine membership, a meat membership. She gets bulk food from Azure. She has a Costco membership, and she has a Sam's Club membership. So she has at least 4 memberships to 2 grocery stores, a meat place, and a wine club. And then I saw her buying wine from Costco. I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh, and then on top of that, she like buys bulk groceries from Costco. And then like they moved, she's like, I want to buy convenience meals. I'm like, okay, cool. Like I understand you moved, like, it makes sense. You moved, you're stressed. You want to have some convenience meals while you're, moving. But what I don't, okay, so then she bought that. She bought like $200. She like showed us this haul. And then she shows us all this food in her basement that she stocked up on, like literally like buckets, like a whole grocery store. And then they got takeout. I mean, I'm like, what? What is going on here? But it's not the first time they got takeout. Like they've gotten takeout before. I know they don't get takeout every day, but it's like, it makes no sense to me. And like the madness doesn't make it. It doesn't, like, I've tried and I like the girl a lot. So I love watching her. I love her energy. I think she's fun. I like watching her cook and everything too. I love the cooking with her mom and everything. But I don't understand her system, and it actually seems like more money. She spends more money than anyone I know on groceries. Like, and I'm serious. Like, I watch a lot of people online, and I've seen a lot of homestead housing, and like I watch Jamrell Stewart. I watch a lot of people, and like everything they do makes sense to me in my head. Like, I understand the method to their madness. With her, I just don't understand it because it's only her and her husband. And I feel like having that much food and then ordering out is just, and you also bought convenience meals. It doesn't make sense to me in my head. Like, make it make sense. Because I feel like, if you're spending that much money on gardening and you have hundreds of cans of food in your basement and then you order takeout, I'm just very confused by that. Like, if you want to have pizzas, have pizza dough ready. The other thing I don't understand is she'll make all this bulk food and then like the next week she's like out of food. I'm like, where did the food go? Did you have like a bunch of people over? Because all these people, well, not all these people, but with her, she'll do like these bulk. I noticed she did all these bulk cooking episodes, but then the next episode she'll be like, oh, I'm out of food. I'm like, what? How could you be out of food? You just did bulk cooking. And then she'll like go get a bunch of vegetables from her garden and then go buy vegetables from the store. I'm just so confused about everything, you guys. I can't make this channel make sense for me. And I'm still going to watch her. I like watching the channel. But between the buying the jars to do canning, because those are special jars, you had to buy the pressurizer to do it. You have to take the time to do it. You're expending your energy doing that, and electric. Okay, so that takes electric, a jar, your energy, and time. And then all the fertilizer it took to grow the tomatoes and the water it takes and, the weeding it out and then going and actually pulling it off the vines and then processing it. So it's just from start to finish. I don't see the savings. If you're going to go buy tomato seeds or, however she's doing it in the ground, you got to, get the ground ready. Then you have to put the fertilizer down, and then you got to plant the seeds. And then she buys the metal grate that goes around them, to hold the plant up. And then you got to go out there and pull off stems. She was showing us how to do that, like how to make the plant. I mean, just to grow the plant, you lost money. You lost money just to grow it. You're already in the negative with buying the metal grates that you have to use and the fertilizer and the seed, when you could literally get a 2-for-1 BOGO at the grocery store. And tomato sauce is always on sale. It really is. Because people don't really cook a lot anymore. The freezer section's what's really expensive now, because everybody uses the convenience meals. But if you want to actually cook, they want you to buy that tomato sauce. And it's on sale. And that stuff is good for years. Just as good as the stuff you're canning. So in my opinion, you already lost money. And especially if you buy the bag to put the fertilizer in. So now you're buying a bag, the fertilizer, then the seed, and then all the water it takes and the time, and then the grate that goes over it to hold it up. So by the time you grow a tomato plant, you've already probably spent $5 or $10. And if you put it in the bag, that's another $10 or however much those bags are. And then to pasteurize it, you get maybe 10 tomatoes off it, 10 or 15. How many cans is that? Then you got to buy the glass jars to can it in. And you got to process the tomatoes, so that's more time. So, you got to pull them off. Then you got to process them. Then you got to can them. And then you got to use your pressurizer to pressurize them. It's insane to me. I know those glass jars aren't cheap either with the lids. So you've spent way more money than it is to go to the grocery store. I would say one of those can of jars is probably at least $5 a piece. It's got to be when you break down the costs for everything, for the fertilizer, the water. I mean, it might even be more than that, if you want me to be honest with you. It might even be more than that when you break down her water bill, the fertilizer cost. She's not charging for her time, but it does take time. And it's I get it. I get a low maintenance garden. If you want to just plant fruit trees, fruit trees are very low maintenance. And that makes sense to me. Okay. Because you can go out and grab grapefruits off it or apples or whatever. That all makes sense to me. But all this nitpicky stuff on the ground where the deers are eating it and the bunnies, and you have to put all this fertilizer and then spend all this time and energy. It doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. It's I feel like you would save so much more money by just buying bulk at the grocery, even just a Walmart run. If she just dropped all her memberships and shopped at Walmart, I bet she would save thousands a year. I really believe it. If she just bought her wine at Walmart and all of her groceries and didn't farm, she would save a lot of money, because you could buy bulk there. And then the cost that you're spending at Costco and Sam's Club, that's $100 right there. And whatever the wine clubs are and the meat club and Azure, like I said, Azure, if anybody everybody look up Azure, it's Azure, and it only delivers in certain areas. Look at the prices on their food. It's very expensive. I feel like you can get big bags of rice at Walmart for so cheap, and just put that in your food grade containers. I mean, some of it makes sense, buying bulk rice and beans and stuff. But you can get that anywhere. You don't have to get that from Azure. So I don't know. I'm I'm having a hard time with this channel and understanding the method to her madness. And, you know, it's one thing if you're going to garden, if you're going to homestead, I feel like it makes sense if you exclusively eat off your farm. But like usually, I mean, that's a long process and it takes a lot of time and energy and it's not easy and it actually costs a lot of money too. So, you know, like I said, if you're gonna sell your produce, like I feel like she had some apple trees. Like to me, that makes sense to sell. Like I would try to sell those to a local store or, see if any stores in the area that do organic fruit would, because she processed these apples. She had these apples, right? And she has these barrels full. And it's like, to me, it's like, I would probably go to the local grocery stores and just see if anybody needed them because at that point you just have too many. So anyway, I don't know. I'm just going off on a tangent because I've been watching this channel and I just don't see the savings. I really don't. And I've been trying really hard because I like the girl so much and I just really enjoy watching her channel. But I feel like it's like more money, it's like a waste of money to like spend all this money on fertilizers and like little metal casings to go for the tomato plants. Like you already lost money. You already made yourself in the negative by doing all that. So to me, I really don't see the savings. And like I said, if you're just going to grow like something small, I understand just doing it for fun, but to have these like raised beds, like you're like a full-on gardening household, but then still go to the grocery store, still buy Azure, still help all these membership fees to all these other clubs, and then you're still buying convenience foods and takeout. I'm like, mind blown. I can't. It doesn't make sense to me. So if anybody wants to leave a comment below and make it make sense, I'd really appreciate it. And like I said, I really like the girls, so I hate to make a video like this, but it's just really bothering me because I'm all about savings. Like I watch another channel, but she has like 11 kids and she's just, she has a lot of farm animals too, but she doesn't have all these memberships and like, I don't know, it's just not the same. It's, she has all these kids, like she bulk buys it like Walmart, so that to me makes sense. And she does have a garden, but it's not like, I don't know. She's not out there like busting her back every day trying to like get this garden to work for her. It's like your garden should work for you. You shouldn't work for your garden. And there's actually a way of garden called Garden of Eden that you can garden. It's like low maintenance. Like to me, if it's not low maintenance and it's not working for me, if I have to do a ton of work, you're already in the negative, And I understand some people like it and it's a hobby and that's what she wants to do. But at the end of the day, I just think, just buying bulk at the grocery store is a better deal. And then you can spend your time actually making the food instead of trying to farm your food and go out in the garden and worry about that. It's like you could just worry about like actually cooking. Since you're buying, I mean, honestly, she's buying 95% of her food at the grocery store. And only like 5% of it really comes from the garden. And I've been watching for months, okay? I see what goes in. It's like maybe they'll use like a sauce they canned and like noodles they made one time, here and there. But I mean, you're still buying the flour for the noodles and all of that. So it just doesn't make sense monetarily for me. So I just think people need to be like very careful of like, because people are like, you inspired me. It's like, but be careful what you're being inspired by and really look at the costs of all of that. Because water, you don't want to just use water. To me, water is precious, and I feel like, you just got to make sure you're doing low maintenance gardening and just start small. And all the raised beds and all of this and going out there and, really, thinking you're doing it. And then you're still buying the bulk of your groceries at the grocery store and all these memberships just seems pointless to me. So leave a comment below if you guys understand what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be mean. This isn't me being mean. This is me trying to understand, because at this point, I don't get it. I don't. That's it. I hope everybody had a great 4th of July, and I'll talk to you again soon. Leave a comment below, like, and subscribe. Bye.